Hello and welcome back to the HH Gaming Podcast brought to you by Hellhades.com. And today we're actually joined by Hellhades himself for the podcast. It's been a couple of weeks since you've joined us, and we've just come to the end, or people are starting to come to the end of the Forge Pass. I almost called it the Battle Pass or the Fusion Pass there.
That's a really rapid fusion completion, that. Day
Yeah.
And
daily.
Hold on a minute, didn't it just start today?
Yeah. Well, we just ended a fusion and we just started another one.
Yeah, so, there's always one that's ended. It's always going to work.
Exactly. If I was going to balls up some kind of intro, then at least if I was ballsing up fusion, then we know that it was only a week out of date.
I mean, it's not a podcast unless you don't mess up the intro at least once, right?
Exactly. I think at the end of this year, because actually I think this podcast is our 1 year anniversary. I hadn't really thought about that until now, but it was about this time last year that we started doing the podcast, because you started working for the company on the 4th of May, and it was the week after that we recorded the first podcast. So this is our 1 year anniversary.
You're still not bored of me just yet, then? What you saying?
I can't believe we kept up with it for a year. I think that every time I put a series out on the channel, people are like, "Yeah, are you going to stay committed to this one?" Because it's like you've got a habit of being inconsistent. People don't take into account the fact that we're running a website with 130,000 users at the same time. But yeah,
no excuse. Come on now.
Yeah, that's true. If Simon can put out a video every single day, then we have got no excuse whatsoever.
I try hard.
Yeah.
Sometimes 2, sometimes 3, and then in extreme cases 4.
Yeah. And if Polarian particularly want it, 5.
and he has been known to at the same time put the same video out twice, but with a different title, just to trick you all.
Yeah, sometimes I do that.
Just to keep you on your toes. But it is surprising, I would add, how quickly someone notified us about the fact that within literally, what was it, 2 minutes of you putting that video out, it was like messages saying, this video is wrong. I was like, good Lord.
Oh, it's amazing.
The worst thing was I was recording something else at the time, so I didn't see all of these DMs coming in saying, oh, the wrong video's out for about half an hour.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh no, what have I done?
It is amazing how quickly this community pick up if you've cocked up or not. It is instant.
They love to highlight the failures, don't they?
Yeah.
They hold you honest. That's the way I look at it. They keep you honest.
Yeah.
Be true.
No free views.
No, exactly. No free stuff around here. No. Speaking of free stuff, we are currently running a giveaway on the Hellhades.com website. So if you guys haven't already gone over and joined in, it ran in line with Raid Shadow Legends' social rush that they did. We're running it for the entire month of May. So it's a giveaway for a load of free takeover stuff that we do through the team. You can enter it literally by going to Hellhades.com and following us on different social medias. Every time you enter a different social media, it will give you another entry into that giveaway. So make sure that you get involved. But yeah, so let's jump into today's topic. So Forge Pass, I know I'm coming to the end of it. I think, Paul, you've finished yours, and Simon, you said you're again coming to the end of it.
Yeah.
What's everybody's general opinion, I guess, of how it's been, whether it's been a positive, whether you've enjoyed it or whatever?
So I did a video that I've got coming out in the next couple of days on the HH Gaming channel, self-promotion.
On our own channel.
Basically breaking down the, as we do in the videos, it's like heavy math. So it's not really appropriate here, but I did, when I was doing that math video and kind of looking at things like what I was really curious about was how influential was the boost, and whether it was worth grinding your way up. Because obviously some people bought lots of levels to get the boost early, which I didn't really quite. To me, that didn't so I wouldn't have thought it was worth it. I think for $20 though, what you get, and I think what especially I found in that when I was recording that I realized was, for a new to early game to mid game player, what you get is an insane amount of 6-star rares or 5-star epics. Because the 5 to 6-star, when you're in sort of the late game, end game, the type of accounts we have, you kind of cycle through perception, and maybe 1 out of 50 you keep, because unless you're using rank or rarity charms, you just don't get enough of the higher quality stuff. But for a player who doesn't have much rank 6 stuff, that new artifact set, you get 200 forges. You're probably going to keep at least half of that, and I rolled one piece to a triple speed. So for $20 for a new player, I actually think it was quite a good deal, even if it was a little bit. How did you put it? How do you put it? Hellhades like boring.
Yeah, I still stand by that really. So I have not been like pushing myself to do every single challenge that's popped up and all the week. Like I picked out the bits that I'm just doing. It's pretty much, am I playing the game? Yes. Did it fall in line with what I was doing already? Most of it did, and I just kind of picked up the points. So I think I'm at like level 46 or something like that on the main account.
I feel like for the first week, I really pushed it, and I was like, oh yeah, this is cool. I've got quests to do. And after that, I just kind of forgot about it. And if I picked up points, they came.
Yeah, probably similar. Yeah, actually, but I would say like on the free to play. So obviously, I didn't buy the £20 version. I've just had the free one. And it's a bit like Clan v Clan. Like you end up getting a bunch of stuff, or just playing the game, and it's okay. Would it have enticed me if I was perhaps a low spender instead of a free to play for that to be my first purchase? I don't know that it would. I don't think that, and that's the difference. Like the old Battle Pass, perhaps was insanely over generous, but I think that probably did entice a lot of people that wouldn't have spent before to spend. This one, I think if you're a non-spender, it doesn't change your mind. You just collect the free stuff. But if you're a spender, you probably buy it for 20 quid because you only get some glyphs, you only get a bunch of stuff. It's pretty low cost.
I think if they mixed in some shards, some energy, and some gems, that would have made it.
It's such an easy win. It's so easy to make it a really saleable thing. What do people want to do? Like literally, I put out a poll. Would you rather get the Cold Heart skin or one void shard? And most people wanted the one void shard. It was like
we're not mentioning the Cold Heart skin around here.
Rough topic.
I'm so pleased I didn't go for it.
I'd love to say that my tournament wasn't 40,000. What was it? Was it? I think someone won my tournament with 22,000 points.
Really?
Dude,
how many did you get down in the end?
55,000, and the guy that won got 57,000.
You were leading all week, weren't you?
I was literally leading all week to the point where he got me into a false sense of security because on the Sunday, I stopped pushing because on the Sunday, he was at like 30K. I checked before I went to bed and I was like, well, cool. I can just do my general stuff basically today. I don't need to worry. And I'll just catch up in the morning. Now, I made the crucial mistake of when I woke up on Monday morning, I just went about my usual stuff. I took the kids to school, came home, had breakfast, switched on my computer, sat down, and he was 2K in front of me. So yes, and there was 30 minutes left. So I did have the ability to push a bit, and I pushed right up until the last minute, but he just crept ahead. He was
too late.
Yeah, I started that push way too late. Well,
at least it's not a Krisk, right? And at least it's not 2 million points. So
exactly. Yeah.
A lot of positives.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I can't be mad because he just played a better game than me. He knew what
you didn't upgrade your Forge Pass.
Well, there is that as well, but he knew how much he was gathering to push.
Yeah, he'd been banking.
Yeah, and he could see what I'd done, and I just didn't have enough left in the tank to creep ahead of him. That being said, I do now have like 12 new level 60 characters.
Yeah, this is it.
So you're never losing anything. That's the good thing. You may not win what you want, but you don't lose anything unless you get to the extremes of what we did with Krisk. And then,
and in terms of spending, I only actually spent on a couple of shard packs during the 10 times event. And that was purely because I'd run out of stuff that I really wanted to take up. I didn't really
think would you have spent in that type of event anyway?
Not
really.
Probably not. I mean, the only reason that I went for the skin was one, I thought it would be cool. I started late and I thought that my group was pretty achievable. Because when I think I was like a day late coming into it and people were only around like 6K, like people hadn't even hit the legendary tome when I started playing. And I thought, well, I've got all these resources. I think I had like 4,000 gems and probably a couple of thousand energy that I was sat on. And I thought, well, let's just push it. Let's see what happens.
Give it a go. Yeah.
I think a lot of people were waiting for Clan versus Clan. See, that was the problem.
That's what you told me to do, and I did to an extent. But then I could see this guy kind of came out of nowhere during CVC, And then I think, you know, I probably did my record for CVC in terms of the clan. I think I did.
Good time to do it.
Yeah, I did like 500k points or something during CVC because I was just like, right, we're just going to go for this now. And then never was kind of daring me to go head to head with him in CVC. So I was like, yeah, you haven't got a chance, mate. I'm ready for this. And just
I would say that I feel like this is the better way of them doing skins. Like,
absolutely.
I still feel like there should be other options and, you know, probably more wide stream sort of ways to get them, but don't just sell them. You know, this is a better way of doing it. Yeah.
I think keep the legendary tier as something you sell. That's fine. You know, you have it like if we think League of Legends, right? They have the pass system. There's always like a prestige version you can get by just grinding out the game.
Yeah.
But then they'll sell a bunch of other skins alongside it as like a premium option. And that kind of model where maybe the epic is always something you earn through different means. Either you can get it through like tournaments. What I would say is I'm not necessarily a fan of it being kind of only the one person wins it. I would rather see at least like fragments on the side panel, like 4, 3 or something. So over a series of tournaments they run it.
That would be cool.
Eventually
you can get it. Yeah.
But the winner would get it more immediately. You know, as long as you don't make it so that you can get it all within a month. You know, maybe you spread it out across a year, then it's fun. Maybe you have more different skins and change it up a bit so you get different versions of tournaments. Obviously, people will complain that, oh my God, they've took my chicken away for a fragment that I don't want. But, you know, you can't. You know, that's what I would like to see. Because at the moment,
you with that sort of thing, though, why don't they just add it as well? Like, instead of to take it, it can't be that difficult. Just have like a second reward for the same thing. Like,
we've seen tournaments where they put an extra reward at the top for a higher tier points. You know, I think with the that training tournament actually had an extra tier for the legendary book of 10,000.
Yeah.
And when we think about it, 10,000 points in a training event for a legendary book was actually a really good deal, regardless.
Really good. Yeah, true. Yeah.
For a lot of, especially before clan versus clan, and it's personal. You know, you think all of these different things combined, they actually kind of fit nicely. But yeah, I actually think that's a great way of doing it. Like you said, like don't make it so you only can buy the skins, or you have to do it on like a, you know, you can get 5 fragments a week and then you have to wait like half a year to get it because, you know, we've already got that problem with Doom Tower Champions where I looked at it myself the other day and I was like, oh, Jinro the Stalk.
Wait,
really
Shadow Legends.
Yeah. But I was looking at it, I was thinking Jinro the Stalk, the last legendary, actually looks kind of interesting. Can we actually kind of do some cool stuff in terms of like stacking up his defense in a really slow build? The only problem is I've only just got Val. So I've got Barsatha, Bastard of the Seal, Chromax, Gronja. So I've got like a year and a half
worth,
or a year's worth of like. I might as well.
The system is just the system is actually a bit dumb because the majority of players that play this game do not play it for 4 years. Like that's just facts. Like we are we're like the minority
the ones.
Yeah, and most people probably play it for 6 months, maybe up to a year. So I just don't know why they don't let people choose their next champion in those.
Or make it universal.
It would be so much better. Much better.
I think there's so much quality of life if they just make a universal fragment, and then all of the old fragments are still there. If someone wants to go back and get a Creeler or go back and get a Ruel or wants to get the new Doom Tower champion first, you know, maybe I want Jinro really next because it's really good. Don't make it such like a tiered system that once it's there, it's gone, and then you have to wait months. Or it's just
it doesn't make much sense to me.
It doesn't encourage people to try the challenge of secret rooms, which is actually a fun challenge to do. Is finding different champions that can, you know, get yourself. People are just going to go, well, I'm not going to bother doing the rare spirit room because all the champions aren't going to do anything for me, and I'm not going to get the good ones for another. Because Barsatha for a new player would be probably better than all of the legendary Doom Tower champions. By a mile in my book, because it's an AoE control champion. He's got a block reviser that helps him really awkward Doom Tower floors. You know, it's a great champion for someone to go, do you know what, I'm going to prioritize that one over, say, someone like Val. Val's a good champion, but he's not going to be game changing for a new player.
And equally, someone like Akoth, for someone who hasn't got a burner yet, is huge, 100%. Right? So
it's true.
You know, you'd absolutely want that champion, albeit, you know, Helmet's good, and, you know, some of the epics are actually really good, but, you know, I'm a free to play now. I'd probably be focused on the burner if I could, rather than Helmet, because I think it would absolutely help me get through, you know, Spider and some of the later game dungeon stuff.
Sure.
Start to help me get onto Hydra, you know.
it's a common complaint that people have. You know, you've said it, I've said it, that the champions you do get eventually, especially the epics, by the time you get them, you don't really need them. Like Dark Ale is really good in some dungeon teams, but normally requires like a set of like a Kaima or something else. But having a Dark Ale in like one of your first champions is insane because of his passive. You know, if I'm doing like in your free to play example right now, you could easily go Dark Ale's my poisoner, but he also stops me taking critical hits. So immediately your maybe brutal clan boss can go straight away to Nightmare.
Yeah.
And he makes such a big difference. But by the time you actually get him, potentially you've already moved beyond the point in which you need him.
Yeah.
So I mean,
unless you're massively unlucky with your shard balls, so you're bang on the money there.
So if they move to a general kind of universal fragment, you know, just a fragment that can be applied to any fragment collector, any epic, any legendary that has been, gone, or in the future, like it makes it so much better. Even like this current fragment event right now, if someone went, you know what, I don't really want Bivold, but I'd really like to go and get Kreela, we'll just make the fragment events a new fusion champion, great. The fragment collection you get universal, and then you can spend those fragments either on Bivold or another champion.
Yeah.
But that way you don't spend on fragments when they put 50% off.
Well, you still, they could literally just...
The thing is, you can't, most people aren't even getting that pop up, I would imagine, because they weren't involved in those fragment events.
That is true, actually. Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. I mean, it makes
such
sense
a weird system.
It makes sense from, oh, you didn't quite get it. Tell you what, here's 5 fragments. So from a marketing perspective, that makes sense. But from a purely thing of, hey, guys, we're going to give you 50% off, but you won't get the offer unless you're around.
Yeah, and even if you were, you can only buy 30.
Well, no, it's always you can buy exactly how many you need.
Yeah.
Is it?
They only the quantity.
You're within like a certain amount.
I had the pack pop up, and that is true actually.
So they normally have it like 5. Out of 10, and it's like 10 fragments or something. And
that's why some people don't see them, because they need like 90, so they're like, oh, we won't bother selling to them. We're just going to sell to the people that need 40 or less.
Yeah, because I've got one right here for Rorik, who I didn't finish, and I've got the option to buy 3.
Yeah. The thing is, you say they couldn't sell them. They could actually just sell them all year round. Then they could just keep selling like fragments, like every week, put a pack out.
I think it just. I don't think they want it to be as easy to get hold of good champions, do they?
Well,
I don't know. Anyway,
I think the good thing is most of the really good fusions were traditional fusions. You think of like Brogni was a traditional fusion. So the fragment collectors,
the one that got away.
Yeah, the fragment collectors are more your progression style champions. There's not many in there that I would say are so good that it's too far. You know, that they're so crazy.
Yeah.
But I just think, you know, the system that they've got for fragment collector at the start was really good. 3 new champions, but it's kind of like got out of control quite quickly to the point where they're almost thinking, oh, you know, you could see they were rushing to get champions out because otherwise there was no reason to do a secret room.
Yeah,
there was nothing else it didn't give you anything else.
And I feel like they rolled out basically their next group of epics as legendaries.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have time to think about it.
Quick, boys, give him a gold portrait.
Just make him gold. Yeah, make him gold. It's like, but are you sure they're really crap? No, make them gold.
Yeah. Like Gronjar, does he really do anything more than Akoth?
Yeah.
Like,
and then when they come out, they'll be like, oh, damn, this guy's actually crap. So buff his damage.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah.
We just put some more out to water down the pool to make them look good in comparison to them.
Yeah.
The trick is not to buff bad legendaries, to make worse legendaries, so those bad legendaries are still worth pulling.
Yeah, I think they just created a rod for their own back, you know, where it's kind of like they forced themselves into an awkward situation where now they have to do these champions and they're not. You can you can get this sense that they don't really want to or don't really have a plan to, and then kind of have to because they've put themselves in that situation, when they could just simply take themselves out of that situation and give us another reason to run secret rooms.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It didn't have to always be champions. It could be glyphs. It could be another currency. It could be something else. Like, don't force us into, you know, we'll do the secret rooms, but I'm not exactly motivated to get Vassal of the Seal. He didn't do anything.
I think a lot of this stuff will just naturally evolve over time, though, because I think a lot of people forget how far the game's actually come within the past 2 years. You know, in fact, actually, one of the key things I know, we were talking in the group chat that we've got about a legendary account that we saw with like crazy amount of +4 champions on it.
+4s.
Yeah. And it just so happened that I did a bit of searching, and it turns out that that account, Hellhades did a video on back when you first started creating content. And I think it was your first review of Siffy.
I wondered why you linked that video. I was
yeah.
So
it was that account. It was that account 2 years ago, before it had all of these things.
Crazy, yeah.
And I thought, well, I'll go have a look and watch this video. And at that time, this guy had just made this account, but he'd pulled a load of shards, and he had some crazy characters, but no gear or anything like that. And you actually built him a clan boss team using Siffy. But just looking through like how much the game has changed, even in that clan boss run that you did, you couldn't see how much damage you'd done to the clan boss.
So
there was no turn counter, there was no damage meter, and it's
the unkillable change back then as well.
It wasn't an unkillable team, so I don't know.
That changed the game around about the time I started, or just before I started. So
so probably not. Ago. This was a very early Hellhades video. I think he'd only just got a cam, so this was like after the phase of no cam, Simon, into the phase of just got a cam, Simon. But yeah, it was really interesting to see, because it's the first time that I'd gone back and looked at a video from literally 2 years ago and sort of noticed, Christ, how much has changed in the game. The game has actually changed massively.
Yeah.
But we're sort of saying, oh, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this. And in a year's time, I think we'll probably have a lot of this stuff, and we'll still want more.
Look, I feel like the game has developed a lot. I know we're going to talk about Hydra in a minute, but the game's developed positively, I think, over the last 18 months, like massively. And if I think about the year before that, there wasn't really that many significant changes. It was almost like, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen?
Yeah.
It was that big management dramatically change, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There was that moment where it was like, okay, what's happened, guys? The roadmap you said was going to do, you haven't done any of it.
It's like that. What happened to the map?
Meme, the meme of the
drove off the map, but they were like,
Where's Void Tower?
They came up somewhere around Tag Team Arena and then backtracked, and Void Tower got removed on the way.
One of the first champions I pulled was Rich Toff the Bold, back when I started playing back, like right at the start of the lockdown. So it's like it's probably over 2 years ago now. And the phrase that always someone used to say to me, oh, well, they're doing a Hydra clan boss, which is going to have more heads. So maybe Rich Toff has been made for that. I remember that. It's like all the way, like back then, in terms of like the whole, like talking about Hydra clan boss and talking about all these other things they weren't going to do. We've got the new colored tip on the Sky Peak Tower, whatever it's called. That was meant to be the Void Tower that never was. So and the point I think that most people seem to forget, and I see it a lot of people say, oh, Raid is terrible for free-to-play community. All they want is just you to spend more and more and more. But then if you actually look back to then...
Yeah, try being a free-to-play back then.
Yeah, like what you got, you didn't have advanced missions. You didn't get clan versus clan. You didn't get all these more stuff free packs you get every day.
To be free-to-play back then, you had to have 3 accounts because you couldn't play the game because you would run out of energy and resources.
Yeah.
Now, is like, you've almost got too many. To use up in a day.
A lot of the whale systems that they mention a lot, like clan versus clan, actually give you more free resources if you just do your daily stuff, like just play the game, and then you get all your clan milestones. I mean, that's tons and tons of stuff. That's free XP pass all the time as long as you keep playing.
Yeah.
Which back then you couldn't. You had to normally either
get to save them basically,
or save them up when you wanted to do training and time it properly. Now you can just basically get XP passes forever. You never even have to worry about it. So I agree, it has come along. I think there is so much more they can do. And the other meme that I see at the moment is everyone talking about like, oh, what happened to the year of PvP? I think you got to contextualize it in the sense that most of the things they probably had planned this year that weren't in a near completion state have probably been put on hold. So you can't really accuse them of not having a year of PvP when
I will say though, that's a fair comment, but also like Arena in all aspects of the game right now is just
it's a mess.
Basically a joke. It's for me, I feel like it's
I think
it's weak.
They've fixed some of the ranking issues. I think that you can start to see that they're trying to focus more now on fixing some of the key problems with certain areas. Like the biggest problem with Arena tends to be sometimes people have no motivation to do it, which is my main concern when they were changing lots of things. Like putting one-man defenses up, people then lose the motivation to actually play the Arena properly and competitively. But if you don't like fix the core concepts, then there's no reason You know, for example, someone of your account, there's no reason to do Classic Arena. Unless you're pushing Platinum, there's 0 point. There's no reward. You get a bit of Magisteel. Okay, well, that's helpful, but you're not getting anything for the gold medals because you finished a great haul.
And also the weekly rewards, even if you push right, if you're like top 3 in plat, the weekly rewards are not enough to kind of drive you to do it.
Absolutely awful. You think you can probably get more Magisteel and get better Swift parry gear than you will get from finishing in plat. I mean, I finished gold 5 pretty much the last 3 weeks, and I've had 0 6-star pieces.
Yeah,
it's just atrocious. So
I don't even look at the rewards, to be honest. I know I finish in gold 5, but
you can see they're like tweaking the daily max reward to get the right sort of deflation right. I think once that's done, you can see they've now fixed tag team arena ranking to open it up to more people. It's the right step in the right direction. I just think that the main solutions that they might have had are a bit more intensive to do time-wise. And perhaps they were like, okay, well, we need to relocate all the team across into a different country. We're going to put that on hold because it doesn't stop the game from working. Whereas something like, I don't know, we need to bring out new stuff to keep people engaged is a bit more important potentially. Or maybe the Forge Pass was almost ready to go, so they were thought a couple of hours here and send it out. It's hard to know.
I guess the similar problem with Arena is, for me, one of the biggest problems with Hydra. I know we were going to talk about Hydra, so it probably segues pretty nicely.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the rewards of Hydra. I just feel like they're not enough to make me like. I enjoy Hydra now actually a lot more than I used to, and it is a challenge. You know, it does kind of push an account. I still feel like it's way too RNG heavy, and I feel like there's the kind of the curve to get into it from a newer player up to an endgame player is just extremely steep. Like, you know, it's just kind of like, if you can do normal, you could probably do Nightmare. Honestly.
Yeah, I was going to say, to put that into perspective, my account is stacked. I think by now everyone's seen my account. You know, I've got like 160s, I've got like 50 legendaries.
It's an endgame account, right?
Yeah, it's a very strong account. However, during this Cold Heart skin event, I pulled shards to get champions, and I finally got my first Shamael. Now, up until this point, it is the first time that I've ever done Hydra and one-keyed it on normal. This is. It's the first time that I've ever been able to do it, just because I lacked the champions. I have very good champions, but I do not have like a Duchess. I don't have a Sifi. I don't have very specific champions which make Hydra feasible. So for
Torment is basically what? Duchess, Tatura, or Rector. Those are the 3 Veil champions. If you haven't got one of those 3, you have to then go to a Shamael or a Doom Priest to Hanorach. You don't have any of those champions, like, you're almost excluded from Hydra when it's a Torment head, because there is no solution because of how niche they've made that mechanic. That is the problem. And as you say, RNG, I'm on the same page with you. Like, do we really need a 5th and 6th head in a rotation? Is it needed?
Yeah, I just don't feel like it is.
Maybe if they're more accessible heads.
I just don't. I feel like that makes it worse.
It's hard enough. Like, if I kill a head, I get a bonus damage. Awesome. And if I get a 2-turn duration and then the same head comes back, that's fine. What's the point of having a 5th and 6th head, which, quote, helps you create different strategies, if a Nightmare is a 10% chance I can get any head, which means I have to have a solution for all of the heads. So there's not a different strategy. It's like, it's counterintuitive.
I don't know if you've seen this in the code or not. Is it a way higher chance that you just get the same head back again?
Yeah, it changes per difficulty. So at normal, it's 75% chance you get the same head, which is right, because it basically is designed to be that you need less strategies for the easier level. Yeah. When you then get to hard, basically the scaling problem is normal is quite, and I say this with a very dangerous statement, quite easy in the sense that a lot of the mechanics are lower.
Roll the hate in the comments.
Yeah, the HP pool is lower.
I think you're looking at it wrongly though, because normal is easy for you. Normal is easy on my main account, yes, but actually it's not easy for the level that you get into it. In fact, it's impossible.
Well, the point I was making was, when you compare normal to hard to brutal to Nightmare, there's not much difference between Nightmare and brutal and hard. And obviously you get the stat growth, but in terms of how much damage you need to do, in terms of the mechanics you need to face, in terms of how many heads come back, in terms of the speeds, there's not a massive step up between those three, but the step up between normal and hard is a massive step up. You know, you go from needing 6.6 million to 20 million for the top chest. The HP pools of the heads don't go up enough to mean that they kind of go up a lot, but actually hard, if you're using an enemy max HP, you need more takedowns and you need more of Husk's A2s at hard to get max chest than you do at Nightmare. So they've actually made hard more complicated and difficult compared to the others. So that's why I meant by the scaling is really weird in the sense that, yeah, normal's not easy. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, comparatively to the other three, the difficulty scale on normal is not linear. It's not like it gets progressively harder. It kind of jumps up really difficult, and they're all at the same kind of equal level. Yeah. So someone might come in and they'll do normal, and then they think, oh, well, I've got 2 keys, I'll do hard, and then try it and get absolutely obliterated because of the steep curve. Like the head recount goes from 75% on normal to 45%, I think, something like that. So it's a big drop. You know, that's
absolutely
huge.
Though. I feel like there just should be a level below normal.
Yes,
which is easy.
Or make normal a lot easier.
Yeah, and just honestly, I feel like it should just be maximum 3, maybe even like 2 heads. But I guess for raid, that's quite hard to code, or much harder to code, because it'd be almost like designing a whole new boss. But
not actually coding wise, that's not how it works. All they would do is they would basically create an object for a boss. It's the way they do heroes, right? So every hero has a 6 ascension levels, so there's 6 different types of the hero. That's the same thing with the boss. You see it with some of the Doom Tower bosses where they've got different effects at different difficulties. Right. The Fire Knight Shield, for example, gets different skill abilities depending on different connections. All they do is have to create new objects, copy, paste, edit the stats how they want. It's actually quite straightforward to do.
Oh, okay.
Because they've got the base model.
Well, then, so I would have thought, 2 heads or something for easy, which just respawn the same heads. Yeah, so you've only got to deal with mechanics of a couple of bosses in effect. Then you perhaps go into normal, but I feel like the normal ramp up should be a bit less than it is right now, and perhaps 100% chance of respawning the same heads. Then you go into hard, and maybe then you get to the 75% chance of respawning a different head, but the stats are not quite as dramatic. And then push it up, and they're talking about doing another level above Nightmare, which is fine.
I can't even imagine doing Ultra Nightmare Hydra.
Well, yeah, but it depends how they scale it again, because honestly, if you can do hard, I think you can do Nightmare at the moment. Pretty much.
The problem is damage wise. It's trying to get enough damage out in the key. I think that's what, like, you can do the mechanic, but can you actually meet the damage?
Yeah.
Because it does. You think Ultra Nightmare is going to be what, 70 million? Imagine trying to do 70 million on Ultra Nightmare and Hydra. I can't see how.
Yeah, but you would expect for someone that's at that level, like we talk about it as if you should just 1 key everything. Well, maybe you shouldn't 1 key it. Maybe you should have to use your 3 keys, and that's where you get the rewards. But
I think it's valid to say maybe 2 key Ultra Nightmare and 1 key Nightmare, right? So you can get like the best 2. I think that's a valid thing. Yeah. But if you can't even 2 key it, that's the way I would be like, all right. I suppose people can 1 key Nightmare now, so it's not that much of a difficulty, maybe.
But it feels like before they even consider that, they just need to look at the reward side of things. Yes. And a bit similar to what we talked about with the Forge Pass and with the arena, there's got to be stuff in there that gets people hungry to do it, because otherwise, that's the first thing people will do. If they've got all of these different things to do in Raid right now, and there's a ton of stuff you can do, maybe you've only got so much time to play the game. Honestly, you look at it and you say, well, where should I spend my time? Yeah, and I'll do normal clan boss every day. I do faction wars every single day, because they're like my 2 areas where I feel like I get the best reward for my time.
Yeah.
And then I might go and do Doom Tower, because actually as you ramp up, you get some nice rewards there. That's the way I play it. And then it's kind of like, what's next?
It's something that you said before, and I think it's probably more pressing in Hydra than anything else. The sets, for some reason, when they make this, tend to be that the sets you earn in PvE are good for PvP, and the sets you earn in PvP are good for PvE. And we end up in this weird situation where, people are doing Hydra, not because they want the set for PvE purposes or to improve in Hydra. It's because Stone Skin is so broken in Arena. And it's kind of like, well, surely Arena should reward itself. The higher you climb in Arena, the better gear you get to climb higher in Arena.
Yeah.
And, people aren't using protection set because it's not reliable. It's not...
It's like Arena awarding your Great Hall, and that being the only place.
Yeah,
that you
that's
get it.
They just got things backwards right now. If you think back to World of Warcraft, basically, if you were doing high-end raids, you would get really good PvE gear, which would help you push to the next high-end raid.
Absolutely.
If you were doing, if you were scaling high in arena, you would get gladiator gear, which would help you push to the next level of arena.
But would still be decent in PvP, but
you
just
could still
not
use
as
it in
good.
other areas.
Well,
But
it's designed specifically for that purpose, right? I mean, I've played Star Wars: The Old Republic. I've played Lord of the Rings Online. Every MMO has PvP specific sets which give you stats specifically designed for playing PvP. Either it's got like a specific set in there that like a stat that boosts PvP performance, but it is designed for that purpose. And as you said, you run you know, I've seen people use DKP systems in raids in high end clans to make sure that the healers get the best gear first so they can survive long and then heal, because it is designed to be the further you climb, the better rewards you get. The rewards then make it possible for you to climb the next tier and the next tier and progressively. Whereas in raid, it's kind of like, great, you finished the highest possible tier in arena, have some really bad PvE gear.
Yeah, have some PvE gear that you used when you were level 4.
Yeah.
You know, and the drop rates even in Hydra are pretty appalling. I mean, I did the math when it first came out, and I worked out if you did 2 key ultra, if you basically did like the top chest of Ultra Nightmare, and you got 2 of them, not Ultra Nightmare, sorry, and you got the 2 chests from Brutal, so basically the top rewards you could possibly get, you would only end up with like 70 mythical artifacts that aren't flat stat a year.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that was the big thing about Hydra. Like mythical, it's the chances of you getting a good mythical piece after a year of weekly Hydra is so low that it gets to the point where you go, well, I've got Mithrala. What's really the point? You know, Mithrala was a good seller for me. It's a great champion. I've just pulled her now. She's probably going to be really good in Hydra, which is rare. Normally the champion is never good for the area you get it from. But I think she'll be really good for Hydra because she is a Hex champion, and we know that Hex is really awful to try and get out on the Mischief Head. There's only like Ruel that can really do it. But she's also good for Arena. So that's cool. You gave us a really good champion, but once that champion goes, we're basically doing it for a bit of stone skin and clan gold.
Yeah. I guess clan gold is now much higher priority for me than it ever was. Like the clan shop is better. They've done some decent work there, I think. But yeah,
I think that's still on a timer as well. If you think once you get your Carl, once you get your skin fragments, once you get Yannicka, Killstroke is not really that good because the return of clan gold versus what you actually get is quite low for that type of set. And if you're not interested in Chaos Ore, it's basically a bit of energy, a legendary book, and some revenge gear, which is still great. I mean,
I think by the time you've completed all that stuff, I think you are interested in Chaos Ore. So I
mean, I haven't bought it this week because I've got so much of it now. I've got like.
Did you see my 15. Chaos Ore video though?
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know what you're doing to that orb because it seems to work just fine for me.
A single piece of Chaos Ore roll me something worth having.
It's like shard pulls, isn't it? You can literally pull 1,000 sacred shards or 1,000 ancient shards and get absolutely trashed. I mean, I pulled 5 sacreds today and I got a 3rd Pixniel, but I got a new Lysandra, right? I mean,
did you?
Well,
wow.
It was good, but at the same time, until that 5th one, I was like, I've pulled 4 sacreds. I got like 3 like awful. I think I got Blood Feather as an epic. I didn't get my Woad, which for some reason I don't have somehow. 2022 where we pull in shards for Woad.
I've got 2 Woads now.
Yeah, that's the same thing for like Chaos Ore. You can either I literally re-rolled a reaction banner, 6-star high elf from triple flat stat, single flat stat to a triple speed resistance banner in reaction, and that instantly went from something you would instantly sell to Mithrala's now just gone god tier because she's got 22 speed plus 8 from a glyph. It's
mad.
That's the value of Chaos. So I know a lot of people say Chaos is trash. They don't want it. They think it's
look, it's one of those things. It's great when it works.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Yeah, so far for me, it's been absolutely crap.
I think you need me to use your Chaos Ore.
Yeah. The thing is, I think we've got to the point now where they're actually
everyone
giving
else.
Too much.
Yeah, totally happy.
I don't know about you, but like obviously your account is a bit more developed than mine in terms of artifacts, but I'm sitting on about 13 6-star legendary Chaos Ore because I don't actually have any pieces now that I want to use it on.
Do you feel like they should just let us re-roll? Keep going.
Yeah.
Same piece.
Or at least to like 5 times. Like one re-roll attempt feels a bit like.
Oh yeah, per piece. That was I nearly cried when I realized that. I didn't actually know that was the thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And also like just let us pick what it used to be.
Yeah. Just
If
don't
it didn't
accept
get better,
it.
Don't,
I tell you,
don't force me to take that triple flat HP.
In Diablo 3, that was actually a thing. So when you reforge your gear in Diablo, you roll it and it gives you options of 3 different stats, and you could either choose them or you can keep what you already had.
Yeah.
And that would be awesome, because sometimes you just end up with something which was okay but could be amazing, and now it's absolutely trash.
I did that with One Piece. I basically had I think it was a defense percentage primary with a triple HP percentage substat. I can't remember what set it was in, but it was basically kind of like, well, it's not terrible, but it could be really good because it's in a really good set. I re-rolled and it went flat stat, and then it instantly goes from like, I might as well just sell it now.
Yeah, I think it was a piece that was like quad flat stat HP, and it rolled like quad flat stat attack. And it's just like, anything else, and
I see.
Anything else, and I would have been happy.
That's a Hellhades quality roll.
Well, one thing that they have added or are adding is this the new trend, which I'm going to see on YouTube videos. I think leading forward is going to be streams of people pulling gear from the forge, because that new animation is so cool. I love it.
The only problem is when you get gold and you realize it's a 5-star gold, you're like,
it doesn't matter. You get lightning.
That's a nice touch. I like that.
Yeah, I think that was a really cool thing that people should definitely be looking forward to.
You know, when it's like, I don't have any shards for today.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna take myself to the forge and pretend.
We're gonna see how my luck is there. But you'll be having Jay Giggs's next video is the technique of pulling a legendary guaranteed every time. Is you have to go to the forge. You have to like get a double legendary in the forge. You go into pull a shard, and there it goes.
Do you remember those old memes where it's like you have to go to the campfire first?
Yeah, well, this Jay Giggs did it, and that was a brilliant video.
Good old Russians winding us up.
But yeah, so I think we'll wrap up the podcast there for today, guys. Hellhades, thank you so much for joining us. As ever, and you're pulling shards on stream tonight, but this probably won't go out today. So good luck for the
shards last night. Hopefully I beat Lady H.
Yeah, I was going to say, the real question is, are you actually doing a competition here now? Because
well, it's Friday the 13th.
Can I make a recommendation? Don't make a rule that's going to make you lose. Okay, the whole concept of 1 negative points when you pull a woad painted really backfired on you last time.
Well, woad should be a positive now anyway, so you should be happy about woad.
Woad is actually a gold now, I think. I really do.
Yeah.
Controversial statement. Is woad better? Woad is certainly better than Jingwong, but then so is pretty much any champion in the game better than Jingwong. So I mean, that's not a good comparison, but.
And in true Top Gear fashion, and on that bombshell, make sure that you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Share the video to your nan and your uncle and all your friends. And we will see you in another video very, very soon.
See you later.
Wow.